Colts Nation. What's up, No Horsing family? As always, this is another episode of the No Horsing Around podcast. I am one of two dudes talking Colts. I'm your host, Stephen Burton. And it's a day late and a dollar short, but we're almost still at the midway point. So I wanted to jump on here quickly with you guys and give you guys my Colts 2021 Midseason Studs and Duds. It's not that hard. But before we get into it, you guys, before we get in, as always, please like, share, subscribe, comment, join the family, get a good convo going. I want to hear your studs, your duds, who's been up, who's been down, who has shown up, who has shown out, and who will be out the door, you think, at the end of the season if they don't show up in the remaining 8 games. So let's kind of get to this. Colts 2021 midseason studs and duds. What's a stud? What's a dud? A stud is someone who has shown up, who's actually played this season, who's looked good, who has played well. And a dud is someone who we expected more. We expected them to show up. We expected them to play well, and they have not. They were overhyped, overreached, and overdone. So let's kind of get into this, you guys. Let's start with the studs. If you're watching the video, you'll see a scroller going across the bottom where I've got several listed. I'm going to start with, I'm going to put Carson in the studs. Carson came in, depending on who you were, with little fanfare to, if you were someone else, to a ton of fanfare. People were unsure. Hey, the table's made for him. All he's got to do is not spill the food on himself, essentially. If he can play somewhat decent, the team is there. He started 0-3. They're 5-2 since he's come on. 212 of 334, 2,300 passing yards, 17 touchdowns, and 3 picks. He's also added in, about 100 yards rushing and another touchdown. But he's shown the propensity to not turn the ball over. Reich has reared him in, I feel. I think it's a step up from last year. The schedule's harder, you guys, so don't give me the mess about, well, his record's 5-5. The schedule was way more difficult this season than it was last season, and he missed a ton of time in the offseason between the foot and the COVID and then the two sprained ankles. But, I put him in a stud category. I think he's played very, very well. I think he has solidified himself as the future of the position for the Colts. And, yes, I am a Carson Wentz apologist sometimes. So, next up is Jonathan Taylor, you guys. 161 rushes, 937 yards, 9 touchdowns, 29 receptions, 303 yards, and added another touchdown. The dude is tied for the number 1 rusher in the NFL right now with Derrick Henry, who's not played in 2 weeks. Y'all have heard my spiel on that. It's freaking insane that he's only tied for it. The Colts are 9-0 when he rushes for 100 yards. I think a key stat, too, is, yes, he is tied with Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry has played 2 less games. Derrick Henry also still has like 70 more carries. It's insane. So he continues to progress. For those who got a chance to watch the Hard Knocks episode this week, Ballard talked about the fact that he's one of like 5 of the most special weapons in the NFL. The running back coach said he's probably, if he continues on this trajectory, Scotty Montgomery said that he felt that he was going to be probably the best player he's ever coached. There's a great scene in Hard Knocks where they're reading off his stats from the Jets game. And he's just sitting there just like, writing some stuff down. Like, no thing. It's no thing. That's what I expect to do. I jumped on with Jason Aponte on his podcast in the comments today talking about, hey, he rushed for 2,000 yards back-to-back seasons at Wisconsin. He carried the ball a lot, but guys, he's powerful. He's fast. He's the fastest. He has ranked the fastest run in the NFL this season at 22 miles an hour. Think about that. That's like school zone speed, depending on where you're watching this at. That's like, above school zone speed. You'll probably get pulled over. Don't go 22 miles an hour in the school zone. But Jonathan Taylor, he's amazing. He's everything you think he could be and more. And the offense runs through him. And I'm so excited to see how he ends this season. He is definitely another stud for the first half of the season. He continues on this trajectory. I mean, you're talking 16, 17, 1,800 yards rushing, almost 20 touchdowns. I mean, it's just, and he's not carrying the ball a ton. And then you add in the receptions, let's say he gets to about 500 yards receiving and maybe a couple more touchdowns. I mean, you're talking almost over 2,000 total yards. So he's definitely another stud. Another one to complete the trio, Michael Pittman Jr., 55 receptions, 729 yards, 5 touchdowns. He has grown into the number one receiver. He just has, you guys. We discussed in the offseason, do we think he was ready? Were we sure? And when T.Y. went down and T.Y.'s kind of stayed down a little bit, he's just not there yet. He has grown into the number one wideout. One of the beefs me and Zach talked about in the offseason obviously was the jump ball. They weren't really getting it to him last year, and that's what he was known for coming out of SC. Definitely doing it this year. Carson trusts him 100%. It's that old meme like Tyreek Hill when Patrick Mahomes is like, throw the ball. Tyreek's out there somewhere. Carson's like, throw the ball. Pittman's up and PJ's there somewhere. Pitt's going to come down with it. And he does it. And, that cost us the Titans game. He thought he could get a play to him, but it won us the Niners game. It won us the game last week, too. It kind of clinched it with that play. And they know where each other's at. Him and Carson. Get out of the mess with the whole 11 in the offseason. It doesn't really matter. That's his guy. That's his dude, man. He's going to Pittman. Pittman's the number one receiver for the Colts now. He's the number one receiver going forward. He just continues to progress. And I still love the fact that he loves to block. He loves go back a couple of games. JT broke a big run. Should have been a touchdown. And Pittman missed his block down the field and didn't quite get his hands on the guy. He was so mad. He apologized to JT after the game that he didn't let him get that touchdown. So Michael Pittman Jr. And then I've got one just because it's for me. Rock Ya-Sin has been a stud for me this year, you guys. 21 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery. On 22 targets, he's allowed 2 touchdowns and 57 completions percentage. Dude's been good, man. There's stories being written about him. He's not as handsy. He's not panicking. That was the big thing. He panicked. He got handsy, and he reverted to his wrestler mentality in years past. He's not doing that. He's in position. He's making good plays. And let's keep in mind, too, he's only played, I think, 7 games. He's been injured. He's not been there for every game, but he's played well. I'm going to tell you guys right now that 26 is going to look really good on Zach when he gets that, because Rock Ya-Sin has a Pro Bowl type level season or just secures the spot for next year. So, I mean, those are my studs, you guys. So that's the up. That's the positive. Yay. Whoop, whoop, whoop. But let's get to the negative. Let's get to the duds. Kemoko Turay. I love Kemoko. He's only played in 7 games. He's got 3 sacks, 3 QB hits. But he's not there. He's not there. He's not getting the pressure on the quarterback. You guys are going to see a theme when it comes to this. It's going to be there's several players on the D line that I'm disappointed in. I had high expectations coming into the season. I had high expectations for Kemoko. He's my comeback player of the year on defense, my breakout player. I'm sorry. The next one is Ben Banagoo. To quote my boy Zach, Ben Banahoo. You could have cut him, and I wouldn't have even known. He's been active for 7 games, 0 sacks, and he's had 48 total snaps. Where the hell has Ben Banagoo? If he can't get on the field and we're not getting the pressure we need to, that says something about him. I don't understand it. I don't. I was hoping he would have a Tyquan Lewis type jump where he understood that being benched and being a healthy scratch last season meant he needed to be better. It's not shown this year. He's not on the field. He's not making plays, and it's an area that the Colts need help, and he can't do it. So he is a dud for the first half. He's got all these players have chances in the second half, you guys. Another dud, Xavier Rhodes. 7 games played, 1 pick. He's been targeted 36 times, allowed 3 touchdowns, and almost 70% of the passes are completed when they go his way. He's not looked the same. And you can say, Steven, he's a dud. You can say, Steven, he's been injured, and he has. He played great in the Niners game. He powered through, but he's not been the same. He was cornerback number 1 for us last season on the outside. I always joke we know Kenny Moore is cornerback number 1 overall on the defense, but he's in the nickel, he's in the slot. Xavier Xavier Rhodes was the guy, and he was a big resign. It's a 1-year deal, and he's not been healthy. He's not played well when he's been on the field, and he's not been the same. And it has greatly affected the defense, I think. It has greatly affected the defense. So, I mean, you I want to hear your guys. I want to hear who are your guys studs and duds for the first half of this 2021 season. Who's balled out and who's going to show themselves right out the door on West 56th Street? Who is it? You know, I mean, you could toss me Chris Reed. He's been a stud. You could toss me Darius Leonard. He's been really good. He's been a stud. Maybe toss me a dud. I mean, I don't know. You want to toss me the play caller? You want to toss me Reich sometimes? You want to toss me Hot Rod? I want to hear. I'm super interested. There's a lot of them. I mean, this is just my opinion, you guys. These are who I think have played well and who haven't played well this first half of the season. Like I said, all this could change. Carson could throw 10 interceptions in the second half, and he's a dud, but I don't think he will. Kamoko could blow up and have 8 sacks in the last 8 games, and he could be a stud, and I'd be thrilled. You know, I don't put Quiddy, I won't put Dio, I don't put Eric Fisher on here. Injuries have played a factor, and Quiddy and Dio are starting to come on. Fisher definitely has come on. So it is, you guys. I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear it in the chat. I want to hear it in the comments. Please, please, please. Okay. So like, share, subscribe, comment. Like I said, please join the family. We're sitting here at about 623. I would love to get to 650 by next week. You know, we're doing that ever climb to 1K, and you guys are there with us. And come on, climb it up, man. Help us out. If you're subscribed, thank you. We love it. Thank you so much. Drop a comment. If you're not subscribed, please do so. Drop a comment as well. If you're subscribed, tell a friend to subscribe. If that friend's subscribed, have him tell a friend to tell a friend. You know, I'm always saying is friends don't let friends not subscribe to No Horsing Around. You know, I love you guys. I love me and Zach are humbled every single day that we get to do this. Every single time we get to talk to you guys and seeing the responses. Okay, I mean, we appreciate it so much, so much. Okay, so much that you just can't even understand. So we end this the way I always end it every single time. I love you. I know Zach loves you. Smash the subscribe that you're going to see right here. I'm out.